Okay. Hi, everyone. I believe we're live, but I will give it. Yeah, we're definitely live. So, hello, everyone. My name is Brennan, and I am a 16-year-old teenage boy crafter, which is about as rare as a flying pig. You don't see them very often, but I'm here. And as you probably watched this morning, or you will watch a little later, I was talking about all things liquid organization. So your sprays, your pastes, your Nuvo drops, all that fun stuff. And that's what I was talking about today. So I really hope you enjoyed my video if you've watched it. If you haven't watched it, that's totally okay too, because it's still early in the day, still plenty of time. But I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying the rest of the Summit videos too. They are all so amazing. I've been watching them, and like I just want to get everything organized in my craft room. I obviously have like the most organized craft room ever. I'm saying that is my desk. There's certainly groups. Yep. I've definitely tried organization solutions that don't work, especially when you. One of them just like being a bin for a stamp. I do use bins for my stamps, but when you buy a bin, you need to make sure your stamps actually fit in the bin. That really helps because then when your stamps don't fit, you just have a random bin. So when you buy stuff for organization, or when you get stuff for organization, because you don't always have to buy it, you can definitely find it places. Make sure your stuff fits. That's like a really good suggestion. And I also used to store my Copic markers differently, but it just got real. So I had them in. Actually, I can take one down for you. So this is actually what I store my Catherine Pooler inks in now. But I had it on its side like that, and my Copic markers would be in there by color family. Stops working after a while though when you expand so much, and then you have to have multiple squares for each group, and that just becomes a mess, to be honest. So sometimes you can outgrow organization systems too, and that is perfectly fine, because as your collection changes and grows and shifts, so should your organization. That's like the best way to say it. Thank you so much, Angela. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm happy you enjoyed it. Ooh, my favorite spot in the craft room. I mean, I guess I'd have to say my desk, because that's where like everything happens. If I didn't say my desk, because I think it would be my desk, because that's where I do all my crafting. I think it would have to be my desk. Speaking of my desk, I think my desk would be like the best place to get more organized, because like sometimes super duper organized, like once stuff's all put away and make sure everything's actually put away, then it's really organized. However, when it's like this after I've just done a large crafting session, then it's a mess. It's a mess. There are markers kind of everywhere right now, but that's okay. It'll be organized at some point in time after I watch all the Summit videos. Yeah, on the side is okay, as long as like the bottles aren't gonna leak. You should be totally fine storing your ink refills on the side, because it's think of it just like a little bottle. If you can store a water bottle on its side, you can store ink refills on their side. The only thing would be if they're pigment ink, but I think you didn't say what kind of ink, but if it's pigment ink refills, then the pigment might like go to the bottom, maybe. I honestly don't have pigment ink refills, but you would just probably have to shake those up. But I would assume for every ink it would be perfectly fine, but also double check with the manufacturer. But I don't see why. I know my Catherine Pooler ones are on their side and they are fine. So I guess being a minimalist, if that counts. I don't love to get rid of stuff, because I can always find a use for it. I do destash, so don't worry about that. I do destash, but I do like to also keep stuff, because I want to try to challenge myself to use it, and then maybe after I can let it go once I've actually used it and gotten its use. But beforehand, but so yeah, I guess being a minimalist is the one storage method I would never do again, which is very counterintuitive for a lot of people, but for me, it works. How do you clean up liquid? Okay, so if it's very small, I just have my little crafting rag here. But to be honest, I just use paper towels and I try not to use them a lot. But if this still is too large for this towel to clean up, I do end up using paper towels just so nothing gets ruined. I try to be as not. How do I word this? I try to be as li- I I don't want to waste the paper towels. There we go. So I just try to use as few as possible. There we go. That's how you word that. Um, so yeah, just I would personally use my little rag first, and then if it's like huge, like I spilt a whole bottle of spray or something, which has happened before. It was not a fun experience. It happened. Then I would just get some paper towels to wipe it up. So we stop anything else from getting ruined. When did I start crafting? This is a very fun question. So I mean, I've been like crafting all my life. I can remember like when I was 5 or 6, it was these animal things that I think you did on a plate. They're like little paper pom-poms and you would make them. But I've always been crafty. I made slime when I was younger. Um, my mom hates that I made slime when I was younger. Funny story. I once got it on my ceiling. Don't ask me how I did that. But anyways, I started like card making and paper crafting in 2020, like a lot of people did. I saw what a Cricut was and I was like, I need that. So then I kept asking my parents and asking them and asking them. And finally, they're like, Brennan, we don't want to hear you anymore. We'll get you a Cricut. So I got the Cricut Joy and I want to say like March or May of 2020. And then I discovered stamping in August of 2020 because it was at Joann's and I got a Hero Arts set and then just kind of snowballed from there. Just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So yeah. What techniques have I not tried and I would like to? Honestly, I've never done Joseph's coat technique. I don't think I've ever done that. I should probably do that. I'm trying to think of like other ones. I know using like shaving cream and then putting ink refills and swirling it around, pressing it on. I think that was a technique at some point in time. Might have been before my crafting time. But that also seems fun just because it feels like it can get messy but not be too messy. I feel like that would be really fun. How do you store my ink blending brushes? So I have them on my desk like this. And this is an old yogurt container. It's like, I forget what brand, but that's not important. But it's a glass yogurt container, and I just put them in here. And that's another point. You can find your organization bins and stuff everywhere because that was literally from yogurt. I have a coffee mug holding some other stuff, and I have a bunch of those yogurt things. So, like I said, you don't have to buy organization stuff. You can find it in your house. What supply do you have too much of? Okay, so I think this is a really this is an easy question for me. The answer is pattern paper because I don't use pattern paper a whole lot. I had bins upon bins upon bins of it. I'm down to one bin, and my theory with that is I have one bin. I'm not going to go down less than any bin because there's a couple that I do want to keep. So as long as my new stuff can fit in that bin, we're good. The one part where that gets a little hectic is with Christmas paper, because that's the one thing I do kind of use slightly more. Not a lot more, just a little bit more. So I'm like, oh, I can keep that. I can keep that. I'll use it. I'm not going to use it all. Let's be honest with myself. So that's in a cabinet, but I definitely have a little too much pattern paper. So my favorite ink, I think, is definitely Catherine Pooler. The one thing, well, there's a lot of things I love about it. I love that it blends very well. I love all the colors, but what I really love is the color families, just because you have like your yellow greens, and then there's 3 colors in there. You have your reds, and then there's 5 colors in there, because pinks and reds. But I like to do, oh my god, what's it called? Layered stamping a lot. So her inks are really good for that because they have the color coordinating, so you don't have to guess like, does this pink go with this pink? No, you have your list, you can just stamp, 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 and then you can create some really pretty layered stamping, especially with florals. I love to do that with the floral layering stamps. Do you have a... So I do not, especially during the school year because I'm still in high school. So I go to an advanced school, which means I have about 4 to 5 hours of homework every night. It's not fun. So realistically, during the week, that would not be great. During the summer, maybe. I didn't last summer. Maybe I will this summer. We shall see. Do you only buy... Funnily enough, I have literally no idea where it is. I made my own spray the other night. I was on a YouTube live stream, and I'm pretty sure it was Nuvo Shimmer Powder, and I had like a little spray bottle. I was like, let's see what happens. So I technically made my own spray, but typically I just use distress sprays, or there's one, I forget the name of it, to be honest, but it's, if you watch my video, it's the ones in the back row. I think they're called Olidine Shimmer Sprays. To be honest, I got that at an online warehouse sale. I have no idea if they're still made anymore. But those ones are really fun because they're shimmery, but it's not super, super messy. So that one was really fun to use. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Honestly, during the week, it's not a lot. I don't get to craft during the week a lot, and that's why, and I think in my little bio on the website, I said if I'm not crafting, I'm doing homework, which is so very true. So most of my crafting is done Friday night and Saturday night, because then Sunday night I'm doing homework again. So yeah, it's basically all of my classes, despite not being called advanced at any other high school in my state, they'd be equivalent of advanced classes, so it is a lot. And I'm in an AP class this year, I'll be in more AP classes next year, so it can be a lot, but that's that's what the weekends are for, and Friday night. If I do have time though, I try to craft for like an hour or two maybe during the week, but it's, yeah, it can be hard. Honestly, I started my, I love to teach and I want to be a teacher. So I started my YouTube channel a year ago, almost a year ago today, a year ago Monday. Or my first video was a year ago Monday. I created the channel a year ago yesterday. But I just wanted to share stuff because if I know something, I want to teach it and I want to help other people learn and help other people just build their self creatively. So that's why I want to share stuff, because there's no reason for me to gatekeep everything and like hoard my knowledge. And honestly, I have not been crafting for the longest time. So some people are going to know a lot more stuff than I do. But still, I think I can help to teach people and share stuff, even if I don't know everything. Honestly, I have no clue. Would I love to do maybe marketing for a company if I can, and maybe not be a teacher? Sure. But I also definitely still want to be a teacher in some capacity. Um, so whether that's like teaching crafts for a company, sure, I would love to do that. But I also don't know how realistic that is. So keep going on the teacher's path unless something happens. But yes, I would love to do stuff in the future, but I don't know how realistic that is. Where do I look for inspiration? Honestly, I think just like scrolling through Instagram gives a lot of inspiration. But sometimes I feel like cards just like randomly come to me like, oh, this would look good with this. And I'm like imagining it in my head. I don't know if this is like, I can picture stuff in my head pretty clearly. Like sometimes I can picture a finished card. Will the card end up like that most of the time? No, but that's okay. um, so I think just scrolling through social media is definitely a lot of inspiration, and watching YouTubes, because you can see a bunch of different techniques, a bunch of different tips, and that is very, very helpful a lot of the times. Um, so social media, just really good aid. Pinterest, I mean, Pinterest is technically social media. I go down Pinterest rabbit holes sometimes. So I'll just be like, go from this to this to this to this to that. So that can be very, that can be deep. Do I have any samples to show? Um, Honestly, on my desk, to be honest, no. Um, is there? I have a Stevie Nicks digital stamp that I colored. Do you want to see her? Oh, here's little Stevie Nicks. But beyond that, if you mean organization wise, I can. If you do, wait. If you want to see the organization thing, I can hold that up. If that's what you mean. Yeah, let me grab that. The other one, I'm not going to be grabbed because that is up high, and I don't want to touch that right now. Organization! And I can actually look and tell you what the other sprays are called really quick. Eye Zinc, okay, yeah, Eye Zinc Shiny Spray, and it's made by Olivine. So this were the other ones I was talking about. Okay. This can go on the ground for now. I'm not going to reach back into my calyx. Okay. What do you do when you've lost your mojo? Honestly, sometimes I just sit in my craft room looking at stuff, and then I play either a vinyl record or I'm just on my phone. So I think sitting in the craft room will help me think of ideas, but not necessarily crafting. I love Stevie Nicks. If you couldn't tell by the fact that I forced Stamp Anything to make me a digital stamp of her. So I'll probably put on like one of her records or Fleetwood Mac and just listen to music or be on my phone scrolling through like TikTok or something and Instagram, finding inspiration there. And then I can look around, see all the stuff I have and be like, what can I use? And then ideas will slowly come back to me. So I think just being in the craft room helps. Ooh, top 5 must-have craft supplies. Oh, that's a hard question. You know what? Your most important craft supply? Your creativity. I'm gonna be so inspirational like that. Your creativity definitely, in my opinion, is the most important thing though, because you can't get crafty without it. Okay, I can do this. I'm gonna do 4 because creativity is your most important one. I think paper. Paper you use can definitely, if you're doing coloring or sprays, that can definitely change the outcome. Ink. I'm just gonna be general with ink. You definitely need ink. Scissors. I don't think you can card make without scissors. And I guess 4 would be ink blending brushes if we have ink. I'm not sure. That's a very hard question. Yeah, we'll go with that. Ink blending brushes, I guess, is the 5th. Because ink, and then I didn't even say stamps. So well. Do you have a favorite go-to color or color combo? Honestly, I like using green, purple, and blue a lot. It's always like Cummerbund from Catherine Pooler, probably Pixie Dust or 16 Candles, and then maybe like Garden Party. Those 3 typically work really well for me. But I just like green, blue, and purple together for some reason. I love cooler combos. I don't like using hot colors a lot. I do now. I did not have a red ink pad for the longest time, so that tells you how much I don't like using hot colors, except Christmas. That's why I have one. That is why I have one. Ooh, okay. Okay, so I talked a little bit word vomit. I talked a little bit about this with Tiffany Solorio on Monday. I would definitely have to say, and this is different. For my number 1 now would be computer risers. I can't really show one, but just a computer riser. The ones I bought are extendable. So, I just have them basically everywhere. I have 3 now. I have one on top of my bookshelf. I have one on my Alex straws. And then I have one back there on a cart with a Brother Scan and Cut on it. And that just helps elevate stuff so you can fit more, basically. I would have to say magnet sheets, specifically. If you want to store your dies on magnet sheets, get printable magnet sheets. Because if you have like a Cricut, then if you don't use all the magnet sheets and you're stuck with them, then you can just make magnets. You can print stuff out, make magnets. And then I think my 3rd one, I think it would have to be this. I don't even know what it's called. I think it's like 6 slots. It's supposed to be like this for pens, but I stored it on the side. Let's call it 6-slot white acrylic organizer. And that just, I can store my Catherine Pooler ink pads. It fits like 3 per slot. And that works with a lot of color families. And that's really helpful because I did not want to buy a super expensive ink pad storage system. And then also, of course, the stuff I showed in my video, which I'm on 5 now, but oh well. The nail polish organizer, the sprays, and then the IKEA Mope. I don't know how you pronounce half the stuff at IKEA. The wooden one from IKEA that I showed. That one's really good too, because it's just a bunch of drawers, and that really helps organize liquids especially. How do I store my dyes? Okay, really good. So I just mentioned this, but the magnet sheets. So I use printable magnet sheets because I have a Cricut, so sometimes I'll like make magnets for my little cousin or something. But it's really just helpful because it gives it a second use. So honestly, I probably shouldn't do this, but I adhere it with scrapbook.com double-sided adhesive. This stuff is strong. It holds them up fine. I have never had a magnet sheet fall off, and I have it on the side of my bookcase, and I have it on my IKEA calyx behind me. I just have them adhered, and that way I just have them out in the open so I can see them and use them, but also they take up a whole lot less space when you hang them up. Yeah, definitely a really good way to store them. I think Ardith does that too. Yeah, I remember Ardith she has it nice. I don't have it nice. She has it on like a frame, and that's really pretty. I do not have a Summit freebie. I am so sorry. But in the Ultimate Organization bundle, I do have a little class where I'm using, oh my god, what did I do? I'm using one stamp set, and we're making a bunch of different cards and a bunch of different backgrounds, just so to help you show you that you don't need to have every stamp set out there. You can have one stamp set and make a variety of different cards, because like I said, I am not a minimalist when it comes to crafting, but especially if you're just starting out, you do not need to have every single thing. You can have 2 stamp sets and make so many different kinds of cards, it's not even funny. Especially if you have some good sentiments, or if you print out some good sentiments, you can do so much with just those 2 stamp sets. And also now there's digital stamp sets, there has been digital stamp sets, but you can also use those, and those take up virtually no space when you're crafting, because you just store them online. How long have you been crafting, and what is your favorite technique? So I've been crafting my whole life, but paper crafting, 2020, so that's 4 years now. My favorite technique, I think my favorite technique would be, I think emboss resist. So I think that emboss resist would definitely be my favorite, which makes it really funny because earlier I have not done Joseph's coat technique, but I have done emboss resist all the time, and that's really fun because I love just seeing all the image still be there when you're ink blending, and it can come out really cool. I love to do that, especially for backgrounds. Yes, so I do give cards, and then I don't have it close to me, so I can't grab it. But I do send them out. But when I also store some because I can't send them all out realistically. So they're in just a small bin, and then I have dividers. So if you've seen Jennifer McGuire's way of doing it, it's very similar. I just don't have mine laminated, my dividers. But I like to think of storage for crafting stuff a lot like record storage, when you're in a record store flipping through the bins. I do it like that a lot just because I like to record shop, and it reminds me of that. Also, today's record store day. Total side point. But it's fun to like flip through the records, so it's also fun to flip through craft supplies. And I love doing those, like, they're not flip bins, but just like flipping through my cards. And I don't have my stamps, I don't have dividers because it's just by type. So I have floral, I have sentiment, I have birthday bins. But I just flip through those, and it's also still fun because like kind of hunting for your supplies. You know what you have. Most people know what they have, but it's still really fun to look through and be like, oh, I haven't used that stamp set in a while, and just see it pop up. So I really enjoy doing that. What printer do I use? Oh, okay. It's a Canon laser printer. I want to say, I have no idea the number. I think it's like M something, but I can find it afterwards, but it's just a Canon laser printer. It works great. It does not have bleeding. I did the Stevie Nicks one with it because that's a digital. But I would just make sure some inkjet printers do work. So I have oh my god, what HP something also down here. I never remember the numbers. I apologize. But that one works okay, but you typically don't want to use inkjet for Copic coloring, because they bleed most of the time. This one bleeds just a little bit, so I can get away with it, because my laser printer is not in my craft room. It is upstairs in my, like, back porch area, I guess, technically. So if I don't feel like going all the way up there, I will just do it on my laser printer, and then or my inkjet, excuse me. And then as I'm coloring, I'm like, why did I do it on my inkjet? So yeah, laser printer. I think almost all laser printers work. There could always be one that like doesn't, but yeah, laser printer all the way. Good morning to you too. Ooh. Okay, is it I know she's here, so if I say Ardith, is that like but Ardith has been like following me for a very long time. So I'd like to meet her one day, but also to craft with her because she's been like supportive of me for a very, very long time. Before I started YouTube, I made a card, a Mother's Day card, inspired by one of hers, and she left like the longest and sweetest comment ever on it. Thank you, Ardith. And it was just and she followed me after that. And I had probably like 150 followers at that point on Instagram. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like so excited when Ardith followed me. And just so yeah, Ardith. The answer is Ardith. And Ardith, I promise you, I am not just saying that because you're here. We all really, really love you in the crafting community. And yeah. What other hobbies do I have? Okay. The main one I would say would be record collecting. As I said, today's record store day. Fully woke up at 6 a.m. to go. Did I go? No. I was like, I'm protecting my peace. I'm not getting up this early to go stand in line in the rain. So that didn't happen. But I do record collect. My most like group or band that I have would be Fleetwood Mac / Stevie Nicks. If you couldn't tell by my like 30 references to her by now, Stevie Nicks. So I love Stevie Nicks. She actually complete sidetrack, but I'm gonna do it really quickly. She recently put 2 of her older albums that have never been on vinyl, and I found them both the other day at the record store, and I was so happy. Except I only bought one, and then yesterday I was like, I should have bought the other one. I should have bought the other one. I should have bought the other one. These are limited. So then I had to go back to the record store and get it. So if I go to the record store later, that will be 3 times. Yes, Rumors. Oh my gosh, I love Rumors. Yes. Yes, Rumors is amazing. I love Rumors. How did I get involved with Stamp Anything? Okay, so it's a really funny story. So I did a YouTube live because my friend Michelle had sent me some of her older Stamp Anything stamps, and I was like, let's do some Stamp Anything stamp coloring. That card is haunted. Everything went wrong that could go wrong. My coloring, awful. My double-sided foam tape, so I put like a glue stick on it sometimes so I can be repositionable. I put it down, but I didn't take off the backing sheet, so just the backing sheets adhered, and then I take the card later and the front just pops off. So that was horrible. But for some reason, they asked me to be on the design team after that, and I'm like, really? After that? But yeah, they found me through that, and I think they believed in me a little more than I did it myself at that point. So they asked me to join the team, and I was like, yes, and that was my first design team. What is... wait, hold on, sorry. I'm assuming these. This is my Alex. My Alex draw, sorry, I'm blanking. Literally everything. Everything's in here. I have some ink in the top drawer. Nothing... I'm sorry, Christmas card stuff in here. Nothing in this one, but and then a bunch of other stuff. And then over here, in the other one, there's 2. I don't think you can see it. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. These ones. I'm sorry. Okay. We have literally also everything in here, but it's mostly paper. So I have card bases, I have card fronts, I have black card mats, watercolor card stock, everything's like pre-cut, a bunch of backgrounds, some ink blending brushes, some pre-cut vellum, and then over here, which you can barely see, there's 12 by 12 ones. There's just a bunch of scrapbooking supplies. Can you tell us what new things you have coming for you. Honestly, there's nothing really in the cards as of right now. Um, but maybe in the future. Um, I'm doing a guest design, but yeah, I have a guest design planned, and that will be really exciting. But beyond that, yeah. Okay, so thank you all so much for coming to my live. And yes, if you have any more questions, tag me on Facebook, on the Facebook group, reach out to me via Instagram, whatever is easiest for you. And yeah, I really hope you had an amazing time during my live stream. I believe this is the last one until I want to say 2 o'clock. So go on your little lunch break, go have your lunch, and have an amazing rest of your day. I fully just hit this and almost knocked it over. That would have been great. We're gonna move that slightly so I don't hit it. Bye everyone, and happy crafting.